So Nidoqueen is absolutely going off on this team, getting rid of that Skeleturge with a Poison Fang. Well, not quite, but it may as well have, as the opponent immediately regrets their decision of not shielding that Earth Power and concedes the match. Welcome back, Arbor League, and I hope your Go Battle League weekend went great. I hope everyone ranked up, but I broke even. But amongst all that, I found a very good team to try in Open Ultra League featuring Tapu Fini's new move, Nature's Madness. So like and subscribe and turn notifications on if you enjoy this kind of content, and let's take a look at today's team. And despite this team's unfortunate ranking of DBCB, I did relatively well considering what I saw everyone using. This meta is pretty water heavy as we see a core breaker on the lead, so we have to swap. But as I said before, Tapu Fini beats a lot of things, a lot of other things that is, and it's still true, especially with the new move. So the idea behind this team is to win lead with Tapu, or at least bait out an electric type so that Tapu can sweep the rest of the team in the back. So for the weaknesses, as we saw, Tapu should watch out for electric, grass, and poison types. Although dark poison types like Alolan Muck that have dark fast moves like Snarl isn't that bad of a match, but we cover those weaknesses in the back with ground, poison, and steel typings on Nidoqueen and Steelix. Then for the core breakers, as you saw, we have Tentacruel on the lead, or other water types like Empoleon, then Virizion, Abomasnow, and Barrelthorn. But this isn't too bad. We lower Poliwrath's defense with the Psychic Fangs, although our attack gets dropped by the Icy Wind, but resisting Poliwrath's typical moveset, we can fully farm him down and come out with a bunch of energy. We are going to go ahead and throw the Nature's Madness. Despite it being resisted, it does hit a little bit harder, but we now have that guaranteed defense drop, so we get to throw that and dip right into Nidoqueen and go straight for that Earth Power. Although we will have to shield up a Scald because it is super effectively ground typing, but we get baited with an Acid Spray. So we're just going to still full send that Earth Power, and that was a CMP that Nidoqueen wins. Tentacruel gets one-shotted by the Earth Power, and there's just the Ampharos in the back that has nowhere to go. So we still build up to that Earth Power, win CMP again, and bait with the Poison Fang, because at least we get a shield or drop the defense. So Ampharos still not going to shield. We still have a little bit of energy on Tapu there, but even the Trailblaze is not stab, and we get to another Poison Fang here, and this Ampharos is getting pretty low. Do we get a shield? Now we do, but we have a Surf ready to go, and we're catching a Brutal Swing on Tapu. Did we catch a Brutal Swing? Yes, we did. It's resisted and boosted, but we get to that Surf, and this will be taking care of the Ampharos as we still have a shield. Tapu Fini will be the Ampharos counter confirmed in this game. Up against a fellow Mystic Trainer in our next match. Now with the new move of Nature's Madness, it is a guaranteed 100% drop of the opponent's defense by one stage, compared to Moonblast's 10% chance of dropping the opponent's attack by one stage. The debuff is great, don't get me wrong, but I'm not really impressed by the energy cost, as it costs almost the same amount as Moonblast. But the guaranteed debuff is useful. It does cost 10 less energy, or 3 and a bit water guns, but only doing 80 damage, however, instead of 100, giving it a lower DPE, but that's typical of debuffing moves. So we're up against this Walrein here, not quite able to make that next Nature's Madness. We baited 2, which is unfortunate, and we had to shield. That is totally okay with me. They only made an Icicle Spear here, so we can let that go. I know it's getting us pretty low, but we can just Nature's Madness whatever comes in. And it will be that Giratina. This will get the guaranteed defense drop, and they shield, so we can come in with Nidoqueen here and just go straight for that Earth Power. There's no point in going for these Poison Fangs because they are resisted by Giratina's Ghost typing, but we can get to that Earth Power, and we're going to see how much this does. Giratina doesn't really need to shield, but with the defense drop, does a solid amount of damage there. And as you can see, Nidoqueen is pretty bulky. We can tank about 2 claws here. And they decide to come in with their Charizard, but we've got that Poison Fang ready to go. We still lose CMP, so it is Zard after all. They take us out, and we kind of have to save Tapu here for a sack swap. So we're going to come in with Steelix here. On the bright side, we do resist these wing attacks, and we outpace the Psychic Fangs versus their Blast Burn. Is a Shadow Zard, but they let it go, and they still have a shield. And so these Dragon Tails are just absolutely shredding. So we can shield up this Blast Burn. They actually bait us, but we snipe with the Tapu Fini. And there's just the Giratina left in the back, which we completely wall with Steelix, and the opponent concedes the match. We see a positive lead up against our next match. We've got a Dragonite, so the opponent will retreat into their own Tapu, and we respond with Nidoqueen, which is kind of risky, right? Because we're both doing super effective damage to each other with our fast moves. But we can win this as long as we shield a Surf here, because these poison jabs are absolutely adding up, and we can fire off this Poison Fang, lower that defense right away, and they let it go. So are we able to fully farm down before they make a Surf? Yes, we are. And Nidoqueen is able to counter a water type. We've got that Poison Fang ready to go for that Dragonite. Dragonite is kind of glassy, so they don't have to shield this first one, but it still does a lot of damage, right? We actually make the second Poison Fang, so this will warrant a shield from that Dragonite if they want to preserve it. They don't know what we have in the back yet. I don't know why they're shielding. We've got a Tapu ready to go. Either way, they think that they can counter it with whatever they have in the back here. So we come in with Tapu, and we have Core Broken the Ampharos in the back. They've got nowhere to go. Even with Trailblaze, it's non-stab, but it is neutral. So is the Brutal Swing, but the Brutal Swings do absolutely nothing. So we don't even have to go for the Earthquake here either. We can just go for these Psychic Fangs as well, lower their defense as they concede the match. Taking a look at the rankings, Moonblast Tapu Fini gives a battle rating of 550 with 29 wins and 11 losses. We beat all the ground, dragon, fighting, dark, fire, and ice types with some opposing fairies. But now with Nature's Madness Tapu Fini, we get a battle rating of 554 with 25 wins, 14 losses, and 1 mirror draw. We still beat everything that we should, just a little better, like even things like Toxicroak jump up a few spots. The Giratina match, though, could go either way, but that's kind of always the way it's been, right? Like, the Water Gun is resisted up against Giratina's Dragon type, and the Shadow Claws are neutral versus Fini, so we're only relying on charge move pressure. Obviously, Dragon Breath makes that match better, but you still lose if they shield a Moonblast or Nature's Madness anyway, so at least you can get a shield, debuff, and or force them to swap. Then everything that we lose to, we just lose a little less to, like a soft loss, as all the rankings go up. The Tapu Fini becomes the draw, so we've got Psychic Fangs ready to go for this Charizard here, and I think they know that we're at the back-to-back here. Can't throw Earthquake because it's resisted, so they fail to catch on the Swampert as we were patient and didn't throw that move, so we are able to re-debuff the Zard coming in here, an already glassy Pokemon. As we come in with Nido here, we are getting low on the Tapu Fini, but we can just farm all the way down and core break yet another opponent. And I think Tapu Fini is still a pretty solid lead as we pick up another positive one versus this Annihilate. Now Fini wins in most shield scenarios here, we just lose if they double bait us with Ice Punch. Shadow Ball does about 62 damage or 44% of Tapu's health, so as long as we're shielding balls here, we're fine. So we're going to shield this one up. That was 8 counters, and we do shield that correctly, so we can just get to that Nature's Madness, let the next one go, and either get a shield or switch here. So they did make it. We can just let this go because they're still in the green, but they actually bait us. So I've already clicked it. We can get shield or switch from this Annihilate. Both shields are down as they come in with Golisopod, which is still kind of awkward. I mean, the water type kind of takes care of both of our ground types here, as it does about, yeah, it's like 60% of Nidoqueen's health, so it's pretty scary here. Probably should have come in with Steelix, as a Dragon Tails might have done more damage and has a little bit more bulk than Nidoqueen. But it's a crappy IV. I've got a Hundo Steelix that I'm trying to max out for Master League here, but we're going to come in with the, I would imagine, the Steelix here. We want to save Fini still for that Annihilate. We don't want to align it. They baited us with Ice Punch, so they could make it to a Shadow Ball. Going to shield up this Liquidation here just to preserve a bit of health on Steelix and farm Golisopod all the way down so that we have a bunch of energy for whatever's in the back. They probably don't want to come into this Psychic Fangs on Annihilate, but they do anyways just to get some counter damage in. Probably, I would think, weaken the back, but we've got the back-to-back here taking care of this Annihilate as shields are down. Goodbye Annihilate, And what do we have in the back is just the Mandibuzz. So this is awkward, right? We've only got resisted charge moves. Maybe like Heavy Slam would make it better. We are lowering the defense, but Mandibuzz can hit back for neutral here, so this is not looking too good. They're chipping away at us with Dark Pulse. So I would say, and Snarl, so probably maybe 2 more Dark Pulses is going to take care of us here. So we're going to try to lower Mandibuzz's defense as much as possible. Now, one Nature's Madness doesn't KO, but maybe this one does. But Tapu Fini is just not at the health that we need to, because they are at the back-to-back aerial aces, and we don't even make a surf. So that was my plan. I think not shielding that liquidation on Steelix was probably what saved me the game here, because it was our turn to surrender. We kind of flubbed that one up, but we still got that 4-1 though, ranking up with this team. This team is actually like pretty fun to run. Like, everyone's kind of forgotten about Nidoqueen, and plus with all the rise in water meta, it's just kind of, you know, unthought about. But because of all the electrics and all the fires coming out, we can take those ground types out and core break some backlines. So we're going to do one more for redemption here. We've got another positive lead up against the Croc, the Skeleturge himself. So they're going to retreat after one Incinerate, and we core break yet another team with the Ampharos in the back. So there's nothing that they can do here, though. I know Brutal Swing and Trailblaze are neutral. Trailblaze does boost their attack, but what are they boosting, right? The Volt Switches? So they're going to be going for that Trailblaze again. We may have to shield something at some point here. Let's see how much his Brutal Swing does. So just a little bit more, but we can just lower that defense with that Poison Fang. There's probably going to get a shield, baiting the Earth Power, but they're going to let it go. Can we fully farm down? Yes, we can. We don't have to take another Brutal Swing, so the opponent kind of over-farmed there, but we come out with a bunch of energy here. So Nidoqueen is on a streak as that Skeleturge comes back in. We can fire off the super effective Earth Power. Does the opponent shield? They do not respect the damage, as we still have some energy. So Nidoqueen is absolutely going off on his team, getting rid of that Skeleturge with a Poison Fang. Well, not quite, but it may as well have, as the opponent immediately regrets their decision of not shielding that Earth Power and concedes the match. This team is so much fun, and due to the water meta, we are core breaking those Ampharos backlines left, right, and center. Nature's Madness also makes Tapu Fini even better than before with that guaranteed defense drop. It makes for much safer neutral matchups, and with the raids that we had over the weekend, I hope everyone got a good IV1 to try out in Ultra League, because Tapu Fini is a very useful Pokemon, and now with an even more useful move. If you're enjoying the content, leave a comment and tell me what you think. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn notifications on. It really helps me out, keeps me in the algorithm, and lets you know when I post, because there will be much more Pokemon Go content to come. But that's all I've got for today, guys. Thank you again, everyone, so much for watching. I've been Rubber Randy. Keep your sticks on the ice, and I'll see you buds in the next one.